Nerd or Not is the official podcast of D12 Games. D12 Games. We're fresh out of Pootie Tang.
He throws and it comes back to him just like Thor's Mjolnir. Meow meow. Nyam nyam. I am so keeping that in. Welcome back to episode 10 of Nerd or Not. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's me, Bob, and I'm joined here with Corey. Say hi.
Yep, I am still alive.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
we're all still here.
I'm still alive and still somehow gainfully employed, so I can afford to be having these moments with everyone and, talking.
Minor miracles. We bless them all. So as you can see, Jay's not with us today. He's a little under the weather, so we're going to try our best to, oddly enough, go through a rundown that he wrote. So
yeah, it could be a highly entertaining game of telephone.
He gave us a lot of really good notes, and yeah.
Well, let's
just see how it goes.
I mean, primarily of which was like E3 happening just this week.
Yes, that was a big thing.
And it's going to be
talk about E3.
And in the least, it's going to be a lot of new news to me because I had to work a whole lot and wasn't able to participate very much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But let's get into it. Let's start off with our product pitch. Corey,
yeah.
You have, what game do you have to pitch for everybody?
We got something called Garbage Day. It was a Kickstarted game a couple of months back. And I think the idea of it was it is a card game. However, it doesn't play like any sort of a typical deck building or certainly not like Texas Hold'em or anything like that. I don't know. What other types of card games are there? Delving into the deep, like extraneously designed sort of a tabletop or specialized board games that, we are familiar with. Because I can't think of any others. All right, it's not like a deck building game. It's not like an orthodox card game. It's more like a dexterity thing. You have this garbage can that all of your cards come in. All right, it's all filth, like 100% just trash. Except the hands that you're dealt have to be organized into two. Have to eventually be sorted into two different receptacles. You have the can, which is normally where they're supposed to go. The cards themselves have two holes punched into the tops of them, and the way you got to do this. The way you've got to deal the cards into the can is that they overlap the lid and you keep stacking them, but they don't count if the holes eventually begin to dip into the lid. It's a little difficult to describe, but eventually what it all amounts to is that you're basically throwing together like the Tower of Babylon of Pop-Tart wrappers, etc.
Okay, now, so it's kind of like a tower stacking.
Exactly. And okay. I try to liken it to like maybe a reverse Jenga or some other stacking games out there. I know there are. They're kind of like a thing right now, and I haven't played a whole lot of them. Now, if you can't fit the cards onto the top of the lid, they go into another pile that's designated your room. and this isn't a life sim or anything too exact like that. But playing it is going to feel on the nose a whole lot. Especially if, you grew up in your 20s in a similar time that we did, where, a lot of jobs weren't to be had, and this is pretty much how you got your kicks every Friday night. Throwing shit underneath your bed, things like that. Which, by the way, is one of the cards. So, that was kickstarted a while ago. I don't know what the base retail set is going to contain. Kickstarters, of course, got in on the goods, not the least of which is this snazzy foil can that you see before you here. But it's a funny game. It's got a lot. It's like just fucking spilling over with character. Get it? Like it? Yes. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Very good.
And that's Garbage Day. That's the product pitch from D12 goddamn games. Nerd or Not headlines brought to you by Cavernous Self-Doubt. God.
All right. Well, let's get into some quick news now. First thing on the docket. Corey, we've both seen Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were you creeped out a little bit when Captain America was kissing the grandniece of his dead girlfriend? Because
indelibly, yes.
Yeah. It was a little awkward. They could have probably done it better. Haley Atwell, who played Peggy Carter, she'd probably agree with you if you felt that way.
Yeah, because we're both awesome. That stands to reason. Can you disprove this?
Not today.
Right.
I can probably in this podcast.
Would you go up to Haley Atwell and be like, you're not all that. You're kind of like this guy. No, it wouldn't work out. Yeah, right. So it was odd. Now, in the midst of like the sound and fury that is your typical like Marvel blockbuster, it wasn't really like thumb in the eye awful until you began to reflect upon it after the credits finished rolling. I don't think it was because, well, okay, it was partially because, yeah, she's basically, if you correct the age back to where, Peggy and Steve were alive still, well, she wasn't even like a dirty idea in any of the Carter clan. And fast forwarding, the only thing that character has in common with Steve at that moment is that they're both in S.H.I.E.L.D. They both tend to like people with the last name Carter, more or less on her part because it's familial. And I guess they're both in a movie and do superheroic things. Yeah,
that's all you got, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Well, did you have? I mean, were you like counterpointing, or did you want to?
Oh no! I was really creeped out, and I was wondering if it's one of those circumstances where it was just me that was creeped out about. And Haley Atwell comes out and says, "Yeah, they didn't do that right. that was creepy."
Well, it didn't immediately like slap you upside the head because you had to have like time to think about it and be like, "Wait a minute, ew, she's like 50 years younger than him." But they're making out, and I know physically they're probably a similar age, so it's not like biologically foul if two people saw them on the street. That's the movie trying.
It's one of those like.
It's the movie trying to sell that status to you, and they're doing it in like a clumsy way. That's kind of difficult to describe because they did the same thing, and a lot of people, when they thought about this for a little bit too long, were like, "Wait, they did that in the comics." Yeah. Steve and Sharon were a thing in the comics, weren't they? They were. But Steve knew Sharon by the time they started hooking up. And that was, I think, the bigger problem than her just being related to somebody that he wanted to hook up with. And I don't find anything terribly wrong with that. I mean, there are extraordinary circumstances involved here. For instance, there's chronological displacement, which not a whole lot of us have dealt with, especially when it comes to romantic scenarios. But him knowing both Peggy and Sharon, that could at least be a common ground for them to start a friendship on or something like that. I remember Peggy. I was really fond of her. We were kind of a thing. I remember Aunt Peggy too, man. She did this thing where, I don't know, she somersaulted underneath a tank and then stuck a grenade up some, Rotzi's ass. Did you hear about that? Yes, I was there and I applauded. This is how their early conversations could have gone, but we don't know that. As far as we know, all about Sharon Carter was that S.H.I.E.L.D. paid her to be Cap's buddy in Winter Soldier, and then in the next movie...
And spy on her.
Yeah, and spy on him, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she is a spy, but...
Right off the bat, that's kind of creepy there.
Yeah,
Oh, by the way, she's the grandniece of his former girlfriend.
That just
background checks, people. Background checks.
That throws a layer of sleaze onto it that could have been managed at a deeper level had they given her more space to breathe in the Winter Soldier. And there was. It wasn't cast crammed like Civil War was. There were 3 principals, right? Then a bad guy. And you had a lot of goings on and stuff. You totally could have put Sharon in there to do something other than just like be in the background and creep. And in the Civil War...
Yeah, Nick Fury set all that up, so he's kind of freaky right there.
I know. I think that's what the biggest problem was.
He knew.
Oh, well, yeah, he's a sketchy damn dude. And that eye is proof, It's as if you needed to be, like, physically manifested for the viewer. Gross. So in Civil War, we got that awkward scene where they just make out after she bangs out, like, maybe 5 or 6 lines. And we're still like, wait, who the hell is this? Oh, she was that creep from the Winter Soldier. Sharon Carter in the comics was not a creep. They really should have built that up as much as they could have before they went ahead and launched the love interest missile. Not to be too like descriptive or anything, or metaphorical. So yeah, it was gross. It was gross because we didn't know who she was. Plus, she's a lot younger than Steve. Plus, she was related to somebody that Steve, was romantically entangled with.
Yeah. This would be a great case for, like, some shrink to analyze.
Sir Steve, why are you attracted to all of the relatives of your former lovers? I'm not telling you anything, Skull. You don't have to know shit. How the hell
When did Captain America become
Punisher?
Dirty Harry?
Dirty Harry. I'm going with the 90s Cap where everyone was just angry and wearing too much armor.
It was a time. Like,
yeah.
God, have you heard this music? It makes me so angry.
That's Leslie Gore Cap. I know you were asleep for a long time, but that's not the intended effect. It's Leslie Gore. Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows everywhere.
So Supergirl is moving to the CW next season.
Mercifully, yeah.
Yeah, and this is probably a good thing for them because that's where all the DC TV shows should be.
That's where all the DC superheroes go to make money.
Well, that's true.
I think. That's what it seems like.
Well, someone who has been mentioned a couple times on the show but has never shown up is Kal-El.
Yeah.
Superman.
Is this him as Superman or him as Kal-El?
It's the same guy, isn't it?
I mean, are they sticking to the comic book chronology or are they kind of forming their own?
I assume it's Clark Kent, Superman, Kal-El.
Yeah.
Spin a bottle. It's one of those guys.
Spin a bottle? Yeah.
Let me put on my glasses and I'm Clark Kent. You're Superman. No, I'm Clark Kent.
Because Arrow has kind of like that, or the CW superheroes have kind of like that flexible window of happenstance. Like, officially, Arrow is supposed to be the first vigilante, or at least first acknowledged vigilante in that universe. But now as like more shows and more stories and characters introduced, we find out that like, hey, there was a there was that, and they existed way before Oliver Queen did, and other sorts of idiosyncrasies are popping up like that also.
Now, did you see who they did cast? Who's going to play Superman? Did you see the name?
Yeah, it's an unknown because it's CW,
okay.
Which I have no problem with. He was apparently in the Teen Wolf TV series, and apparently there's a Teen Wolf TV series.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I've heard of it, never seen it.
We are openly acknowledging this fact now, and I suppose we can move on from that. I don't know what to expect from it. I haven't seen a single episode of Supergirl. I hear good things about it. It's just that it wasn't on Hulu for the longest time, and I'm digital only, like I assume a lot of people are.
Yeah. More people cutting the cord every day.
So, get to see it next year.
Yeah.
Speaking of next year.
Yeah.
Yes!
the guy we love to talk about. Mm-hmm. Peter Capaldi.
Yes.
Doctor Who.
Or at least
Series 10.
At least number 12. The guy that we'd like to talk about.
Oh, yeah, 12.
Yeah.
Series 10 just started filming this week.
Yep. Which I didn't know. I didn't know they were like already done writing everything. And it's
I mean, it is June, so I guess they'd have to start filming it, and then they'd edit it, and then they market it, and then it's ready by spring next year.
I just kind of assumed that because they skipped a year, the index for writing. I thought that like Moffat was like in the Bahamas somewhere, being tended to.
He probably is. Yeah, I still haven't learned the name of the new showrunner when he starts up.
Chinball. Nah, because I'm fucking mentally 5 years old. Chris Chibnall.
That's Ernest Chinball. Thank you very much.
He of Broadchurch, and I hope 12 sticks with this guy because I want to see what other people do with this character now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have fallen so deeply in love with the 12th Doctor. He has replaced 9 as my favorite. I cannot imagine somebody else doing the role now.
Still hasn't replaced 9 for me. He's
really?
Good. He's good. I think the reason it hasn't is because there's a lot of still glaring inconsistencies with his character starting from like day one. But the idea behind him as being somebody who is more alien than the last 2 Doctors, well, that resonates strongly because it is supposed to be sci-fi and he is supposed to be... A lot of Doctor Who is a fish out of water story. But David Tennant and Matt Smith were like so effing hip and just about damn near girl pretty that there wasn't a whole lot. there wasn't a whole lot that like separated them from being like the ideal or the ideation of a human supermensch, you know? And it was like, all right, well, sometimes they say like funny things and they come up with like brilliant gadgets and they always save the day. But to be honest, they don't put off a whole lot of people. Even Matt Smith didn't.
Yeah.
The viewers, maybe, but like the people in the stores were always like, "Oh, it's the doctor, hello, doctor," and they all loved him. But nine wasn't afraid to be a shit. He wasn't afraid to be afraid, which is really important, which is really integral to his character, because so many of the doctors are fearless, and I thought that stuck out. I thought that was really brave.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, they did a little trailer with the companion, and I was reminding myself the new companion that starts up next year.
Yeah.
And half the trailer, it's her asking, "What's a Dalek? Who's a Dalek? What's a Dalek?"
It's a bit
main
fat,
audience,
isn't it?
we know who a Dalek is. We don't need to be told. I mean, that's one of the reasons the companion's there, is so they can ask all these questions and learn who these characters are that we haven't experienced before.
Moffat has displayed patterns of sometimes underestimating his audience and in trying to appease them at the same time, funnily enough. And I think he heard people saying that, yeah, we had just about had enough of, like, the super companion. Ordinary looking human beings who have extraordinary origins. Like Jenna Coleman's she was like a blip in time and space who was more or less conscripted to protect the Doctor for however long he's been alive. And the Pawns also, they gave birth to like I don't know, like a time dust alien bounty hunter child, time lord lady. Yeah, there was a little bit of that. So I think he was wanting to bring the companions back a little bit closer to us.
Probably ground them a little bit.
Yeah, and like really pushing that point, introduce the teaser where she's basically just like blathering off like a stooge. Yeah. Pretty much how we would if we ever found ourselves in such situations.
Well, yeah, I could see and I could agree to that when you're starting off new, obviously this person's going to have a lot of questions. But that's why I thought it would have been awesome if the new companion was Strax. He knows the Daleks. He knows the Cybermen. He knows the Silence. He knows all these monsters.
Yeah.
He's not going to ask the questions, "Oh, what is that statue of an angel?" No, we know what that is.
Yeah. And Strax would be shitting himself in response instead of asking those silly questions.
What is that wooden statue? Stone statue.
Now, it's always a gift from the Doctor Who powers that be when Strax shows up. Yeah. So hopefully we can get more of that. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect of the new companion, of course. We haven't seen any of her except for the teaser. And yeah. I think it'll be fun to return to the companion status bar back to unknown. And of course, it's 12, so we get to let him tear up the galaxy as he has been doing. So
bring it back down to season 1 Rose level.
Season 1 Rose, exactly. There's a reason a lot of people get into her get attached to her so strongly. She was basically us for the first season. Then she started getting savvy, and she was still us, but she was picking things up. She never deviated from us too much, though.
Yeah, she stayed on pace with the Doctor.
Yeah, and then when she started learning too much, well, then she had to go to another dimension.
You go away now.
Yeah. So yeah.
But also something that just finished filming was the principal photography for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Holy fuck, that was quick.
Yeah, they did a 90-day shoot on time, under budget. That does not happen these days.
That's the James Gunn method, though.
Yeah. Did they do the first movie in this on time and under budget as well?
I think not so many chances were taken with the first movie because it, again, was also James Gunn.
Yeah.
And yeah, he did do the Scooby-Doo movies, so he knows how to handle big budget Hollywood blockbusters of a very narrow niche genre. But I think that this was like, you think of a Marvel job as being like a little bit, I don't want to say that there's a prestige attached to it, but there's like a lot of promises attached to it. Implied. At
the same time, the first movie is introducing a walking tree and a talking raccoon.
And it was
that's hard to sell.
Yeah, there was. You could say it was a slight gamble, that script, and I think he wanted to do everything he could in order to satisfy the obligations of a director screenwriter and still not push too many envelopes. That's just me guessing. I don't know. All the smoke's coming out of my face right now in saying that. But honestly, he has a track record of coming in way the hell under budget and meeting all the deadlines anyway on his other projects. So big surprise, and well done. It just brings it a little bit closer to us seeing it. That's all I'm really concerned about. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was our quick topics, our quick news
Mhm.
for this podcast. Now, let's get into some of our major
Quick.
topics. Yeah, quick. Yeah, what are we? We're almost 30 minutes in now. Let's get into the big thing that went on recently, E3.
Hey, what's that?
That is something that more publishers are pulling out of than a porn star. Well, I'm not going to finish that analogy.
Oh, that was rude. Should we just let this one tumble into a ditch and not worry about calling the authorities for about an hour or so?
Let's just go get into it.
Right.
You want to talk EA?
Let's make tracks from the dead metaphor. I would love to talk about EA because I don't know dick about what's going on with this company, or at least with their E3 presence.
Yeah, whenever they're not putting out NFL Madden.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell, well, I don't know, maybe you can't, from my YouTube channel, that the stuff that I primarily concern myself with is either quirky stuff or indie stuff or free stuff. And if it is like AAA, then it's got to be like it's got to have some sort of, I don't know, wacky character attached to it or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at my video game library on the shelf, and the last EA game I bought was... I think that's 2014 NCAA football.
Really?
So that was 3 years ago-ish.
But it was still a sports game, and that's a genre you're familiar with.
Yeah.
No sports games in EA's coverage, it looks like. We've got a sequel.
It's not on the major announcement, no.
What's it? I know, for once. Titanfall 2 is hitting with a single-player campaign. I'm going to guess that's important because the first one didn't have a single-player campaign. I don't know. If anybody's got the details on that, feel free to correct us. I never played Titanfall. Battlefield 1, again, something I have very little familiarity with. The last Battlefield game I played was Bad Company, and that was because of the promise of being able to run roughshod around scorched earth in a golf cart. Moving along.
Hey, that sells it for me.
Yeah, you actually got it, didn't you? You bought it back in the day?
I think I might have rented it. I don't own it.
All right. I almost got it, but then that was about the time that Steam kind of came into prominence with the Orange Box. So I was like, oh, this will probably come out on PC. And I played first-person shooters on PC. Ago? It was a while ago, yeah. It was when I was still living up in we were still working at the same TV station, like the other one. And I lived way further north than I do right now. Same state, just saying. Further away. Things were different. Times were more innocent. And everything sucked. There is Mass Effect. Do you know anything about Mass Effect?
I did play Mass Effect, the first 3.
Okay, all right, good.
I think there was a big, big difference between 1 and 2, where...
Well, 1 was a freshman effort.
Yeah, but 2, they changed 2 just enough where it kind of turned me off. Mm-hmm. I tried play it a few times. I never finished 3, but by now I've heard all the endings, so it's been spoiled for me about how bad it was. So this new one, Mass Effect Andromeda. God, I wish Jay was here and could tell us some. I'm sure he knows some more about it.
Well, he's our BioWare dude, unfortunately, so he might have he might have more to say about it in the next show, because as we move further and further away from E3, more stuff's going to spill out, like refined trailers and such.
Yeah.
And the marketing is going to get more advanced. You know how these things go. I've never played any BioWare game. Wait, scratch that. I have played one BioWare game. Hang on a second. This is good. Because, you see, I think this is the only DS game that BioWare has ever made.
Oh, get out. They did a Sonic game?
Sonic RPG. Sonic Chronicles. The Dark Brotherhood.
Was it any good?
Huh?
Was it any good?
I've only played through the first 10 minutes of it or so, as I am wont to do when a whole bunch of games hit. Pretty damn awesome, actually. I don't enjoy Sonic games all that much.
They usually suck.
Well, I mean, suck's a relative term. I realize that. And there are so many fans of the original Sonics that obviously this is going to be subject to a wide variety of acceptances, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. Sonic is one of the few games that I can think of where you can actually put it on autopilot. You hit right for like maybe 5 seconds, and then your stage is finished. I know there's secret areas to find and such, but the thing is that because the game moves at such an inflexible speed, that in order to try to find these areas, you've got to like make your way all the way over here, and then you've got to like chance backtracking into like something that used to look like a pit and then go into the pit. Of course, it could fucking be a pit, which brings you back to the beginning of the stage. A lot of it was just, I don't know, seemed to be so much of a chore than it did. I'm a completionist, and I wasn't going to be satisfied with a game that just let you kind of set it and forget it for the first couple of levels. So a lot of the other Sonic games seem to follow that formula. I guess things got shook up after the GameCube came out. I don't really know. But this, people were comparing it to what? Mario and Luigi, Paper Mario, stuff like that. And you know me, little fan, kind of those games, so I had to try it out.
Yeah, you call yourself a completionist. I remember you playing one of the Zelda 64 games, and you had to find every last Skulltula, every fairy, Skulltula. Every bottle.
I had to get every every bottle. I had to get the gilded sword or whatever the hell that thing was. I
remember that two-handed beast.
Dude, Hyrule was going to get turned inside fucking out before I was done with that mess. Don't test the 1% or 100%er. Remember the first time I played Animal Crossing?
Oh, God.
It wasn't pretty.
Well, yeah, you can't collect everything in that, so I'm surprised you didn't slit your wrist.
It still haunts me, too. Like, yeah, you didn't get any of the seasonal items. Fuck you, Tom! Gosh! And then I run back into the house and save, crying in my bed.
Yeah, we got one more from EA.
Yeah.
A new Star Wars Battlefront.
Again, your show. I have no idea. The last Star Wars game I played was Bounty Hunter for the GameCube.
Oh, really?
I think it was Bounty Hunter, yeah.
Shadows of the Empire for me.
Oh, God. So even further away? No.
It was on the 64.
It was in 64. You have played some X-Wing sims after that.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Oh, God, yeah. Rogue Squadron.
The one that had the Slave One in it.
Yeah, the Slave One, the Millennium Falcon, the Naboo Fighter, and the Cadillac.
Yeah. Well, it was the Cadillac brought back for Rogue, the GameCube version?
Don't think so. I seriously doubt it was. I think that was one thing, like someone probably even sneaked it in there.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been, because I remember getting that, and it was so weird, but it was so fun to play with.
Well, that was like a year or two after Men in Black came out, so that was the only ship that I played when we found out about that cheat.
Yeah. It's like, I think I bought it just for the cheats on it, because it had so many cool... You could play as like a TIE fighter, a TIE bomber, a bunch of different vehicles that on normal Star Wars games you wouldn't be able to play. Now,
granted, like doing so kind of risked you glitching the game to hardware failure, and with the Cadillac, that was actually a given. Or
I didn't have any problem with it.
Seriously?
Yeah, not a single issue.
Did you ever try to boot back out to the menu while you were flying it?
No, I want to say that every time I used it, I completed the mission.
That's what happens if you pause and you try to go back to the main menu, it crashes, and you have to reset the game. Yeah. So I did it, and that was in spite of having to do that idiotic little runaround every time, because you're flying a fucking Cadillac. You're acing TIE fighters in Detroit Steel. I don't think anybody would reject that option. And the second game had Slave One, which is great. I was all excited when I found out about that, but then like one hit and you're done.
Yeah, it had
you're like Sarlacc doo-doo.
I think they used like the same model as like a TIE fighter, where it had really weak shields but really fast firing. It
was really maneuverable, and it had rapid firing.
Yeah,
but it didn't matter, because once you got hit, you were out, and you're going to get hit in that game. So what's up with Bethesda?
Okay, they these are probably, we probably should have done this the other way around. But I'll read Bethesda. Skyrim is getting remastered. How old is Skyrim?
You bastards. It came out in 2010, 2011.
Yeah. Okay, so 6 years ago.
Not old.
Yeah.
Not old enough to be a classic.
Does not warrant a remastering.
Yeah, not old enough to satisfy even the abridged internet understanding of nostalgia, which is typically like 4 to 5 years. It's barely there.
Yeah.
It
would have been better off doing a sequel.
It would have been better off spending that time on patching the thing to full functionality than they would have been working on another game that the game's players and fans are going to have to create an unofficial patch for again. What the fuck, Bethesda? Skyrim doesn't even look that different from Fallout 4. They use the same fidelity is there. I mean, visually speaking, I'm assuming they use the same engine or at least they built on top of it in order to create Fallout 4. There were older games that could have been remade. Fallout 3 it's brutal if you've ever played that recently. Like it was outdated as soon as New Vegas hit. They could have brought that game up to speed because the Capital Wasteland's still a great place to explore. But my God, it's not only is it glitchy as fuck, even after all the unofficial and official patches, the fighting has already been outmoded greatly by everything that came afterwards. I don't know what fucking market they're looking to tap into this with, and I'd like to not sound like the typical like Uber fanboy here of this shit. It almost feels like, hey, you're gonna buy this. You know it's gonna happen.
We know you're gonna spend your money.
Buy our remake of a 4-year-old game that didn't need updating, except for, the patches that we should have updated in the first place. I don't get it.
So the other version was the beta, probably.
I guess. Skyrim has been in public beta for 5 years.
Well, also else from Bethesda, we got new versions of Quake and Prey.
Looking forward to those. Because both of us played a little bit of Quake back in the day, but didn't get too crazy into it, which a lot of people did.
Yeah.
A lot of people still play like vanilla Quake nowadays.
Really?
No, I'm not even shitting you. I thought there was... Yeah. I don't know what Prey is, actually.
I've heard of Prey, I believe. Well, if I start guessing, I know I'm going to be wrong. But also, Bethesda also announced there's going to be updates to Elder Scrolls Online.
Well, there better be. It's online.
Well...
Right. Like, I know a lot of people wished that World of Warcraft stopped updating after vanilla, but unfortunately there's a casual market to consider, and online, well, they got to keep up with the competition, right? Or Elder Scrolls does.
Last thing from Bethesda is something that you'd probably be excited about, Corey, I'm going to guess. There's going to be new DLC for Fallout 4.
I would be so excited about that if I wasn't still playing New Vegas.
You got to catch up. You need to take some time off from work, veg out a little bit, and just get caught up.
That's what's going to happen. This following week, actually, I'm going to have a lot of disposable minutes to dedicate to traversing the Mojave Wasteland, and I'm going to do it in style. Thank you very much.
There you go.
That's some good shit.
Right. So what do we got from Microsoft? Anything from them?
Microsoft, God, guys, I'm not going to rant about the backwards compatibility anymore. It's old news. We're just going to get up to speed with what's recent. And what's recent is that apparently they're announcing a new Xbox Slim, Xbox One S, and
X-Bones.
Yeah, the small X-Bone. So you don't feel the financial fucking as much as the last one. And then there is going to be a Project Scorpio, which is the same system but not.
I don't know.
Okay,
the Project Scorpio is so off the radar for me. My God, it seems like we're not doing it justice by even mentioning it.
All I know is that I need to buy my 360 back because I still have a bunch of shit on the 360 that I need to play. I sold it like 6 years ago to pay for rent, and I haven't gotten it. I haven't welcomed one into my home since then. Scorpio, just to wrap that up, Scorpio is apparently going to be an Xbox iteration of a sort with 4K capabilities, VR setup, and 3 other things that are not backwards compatibility. So,
it's basically another X-Bone.
I guess so. That's if their marketing strategy is reasonable doubts, so be it. But I've got no time, so we'll talk about it casually like this, and then move on to the next thing, which is customizable designs for the Xbox One controllers, which is great. Customizable designs for hard design controls is basically like flipping through a tattoo book, and and not having the option of making your own designs. So I guess some people are into that. Get like a rows with a couple of font banners above and below it for your Xbox One controller. Cross purchases for Xbox One and PC, which is a fucking savvy idea. So thank you, fucking Microsoft,
I
for catching
was wondering if they're getting tired of losing to Steam.
Their last two stabs at establishing a digital marketplace for personal computers were disasters. So after that, we've got the Sea of Thieves from Rare, which kind of glances backwards to the cross purchases for Xbox One and PC. Thank you for letting us play a Rare game. For one, for starters, letting Rare make a game. And then for two, having it be available for PC. Because there's a big chunk of the market you'd be missing out on if you were just like, console only. People will buy the console for this. No, they don't trust you. People don't trust you, Microsoft. Sorry. I mean, in between the Xbox One and, hey, I think it might be about time to upgrade my PC to Windows 10, according to this thing that pops up once every hour or so.
I wish I could shut that off.
Yeah. Favor is not really yours to be playing fast and loose with at the moment. So thanks for reaching out to the people that you could sell stuff to. That could be
thanks for making it free, Microsoft, but not interested. Thank you.
Right. But I do like the fact that we can at least get some Windows exclusive or Microsoft exclusive games on a platform that we have easy access to.
Mm-hmm.
Confirmed Dead Rising 4. Frank's back. Throw that up. Now, this comes with a footnote. Just recently, Capcom had confirmed that there's that the exclusivity deal with Microsoft is for 1 year only, so afterwards, seeing as how like every other Dead Rising that's come out so far has made its way to PC in some form, Dead Rising 4 is probably going to follow suit. But I'd cover wars, and I'm looking forward to doing so again.
What else? Ubisoft! Ubisoft!
Did you announce Beyond Good and Evil this year? Or Beyond Good and Evil 2 this year? No? Okay, Ubisoft. Do your thing.
Go on, you French bastards. What do you got? They got Star Trek Bridge Crew VR.
I have no idea what that was, but I hope it's like a fully immersive version of Space Team.
I'm pretty sure it's not the same people who are doing the mobile app right now.
Oh, okay.
Timelines, Star Trek's Timelines. I don't think it's the same people. I'm pretty sure it's not.
It's almost a completely different sort of experience, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, because this is a VR game. So I'm just imagining, what if you are in the position where you're sitting on Enterprise D and you just look around, you could see everything going on, and the one bathroom that's on the bridge.
The one?
There is one bathroom for the entire bridge level.
Is this
canon? And it's transgendered bathroom, by the way.
That is
canon.
There's no getting around that. You're in space. Pretty sure the whole binary limitation is not universal.
Mr.
Hold on a second. Now,
go to Rigel 7 at Warp 7. I have to go pee.
And then there's this next one, which I'm fucking jazzed up about, because I was one of maybe like 10 people that were like, Blood Dragon did pretty well, didn't it?
I don't know. I've never heard of this franchise before. Trials of the Blood Dragon.
It's an amalgamation of Trials, which is like an Ubisoft franchise, like proper, and then an offshoot of another of Ubisoft's franchises, which is Far Cry. Now, Far Cry is its own thing, and then they put out Blood Dragon afterwards because somebody got it up into their backbone to like do a shooter that was like coated in neon, and every single like hyper opulent and grotesquely neon cliche of the 1980s, and then like pump it into like a sort of a smaller scale version of a Far Cry game. And a lot of people hated it when it first came out. I remember this. But then it kind of like, in true God Hand style, got like this dedicated cult following over the years, because it was not only just that. I mean, like right now, like for some reason, Tapehead visuals and Tapehead, the Tapehead subculture is kind of like, I don't know, seeing this resurgence in exposure. And Blood Dragon apes off of that like wholesale, but it did it way before the Tapehead thing came to prominence. like the loading screen is like a little tracking meter that says tracking, and then like the crashes straighten up as the game loads. It tries to make several interstitial spots in the game look like VHS tapes and such. Okay. It was really funny. There were some kind of like ill-timed jokes in it that I guess caused a bit of controversy at the time, but then we found out who wrote the script, and I guess all was forgiven afterwards. I don't really know where that went. You know how like people like to scream on Twitter and shit. But it was really fucking fun. Like the cover system I loved. You could grab one of the dudes like standing nearby you instead of like ducking behind a crate or whatever, which was always an option. But if you got someone next to you that you haven't like offed yet, you can grab them. You can like throw a star while you've got this other dude in a headlock and use him as like a body shield at the same time.
Oh.
It did some crazy ass shit. And of course, it had like fantastic music. Everything about it was I keyed into it immediately. Trials is fun. Trials by itself is a great game. I kind of like gravitated more towards Joe Danger, which is the same sort of like stunt racing type of a game that it is. But apparently, this whole Trials of the Blood Dragon thing isn't just motorcycles or
You're
even
racing
vehicles.
dragons.
I hope there's at least one point where that becomes a reality.
That'd be a selling point for me.
Yeah. I don't know how that would work, but we'll leave that to the game designers. But there's a whole lot of like footwork. There's running apparently, and some, of course, because it is Blood Dragon, offshoot of a shooting game. There's some assault sections as well. But I don't know what to expect from it. Apparently, it's out. It's like already out on Steam and wherever fine digital products can be bought. But I'm looking forward to playing that like now. Except I can't because I'm saving money.
Oh, yeah. Also, we got Watch Dogs 2.
Damn. Jay would have been great to explain that one because he played most of Watch Dogs 1, if I remember correctly. The only thing I knew about the first game was that it was about a hacker who, for some reason, preferred guns. And it all took place in Chicago. And it was a pretty not scale specific, but landmark accurate representation of Chicago, which I loved because that city is amazing. And that was pretty much all I got out of it. I just kept exploring whenever I played it.
This one takes place in San Francisco, so...
Which I don't even... exploration doesn't even have that appeal for me now, because fuck San Francisco.
Yeah, if I play this, I would be hacking everybody. Bunch of snooty upper-class bastards.
Well, here we go. Let's just take over everyone's smartphones and, naked pictures of B. Arthur for the entire township of San Francisco. That's right. This watchdog sees you, bitches, and my work is done. I'm out. I don't know. It's, a lot of, when I do AAA games, a lot of what draws me to them is actually not combat. Unless sometimes it's clever and funny, like you get out of the Fallout games every once in a while. Like you trap a bunch of people in like a fenced-in area, and the game engine keeps them from exiting, and you start chucking grenades or sticks of dynamite or whatever, and then it becomes like a rainfall of ragdoll. But other than that, it's me. It's the player discovering things and finding areas to try to weasel your way into, and it's basically all the spots that you can't fill in on a map that are obvious. It's you trying to find them and then get into them. That's what I get out of most AAA open world games now. And I don't know. Like most everybody our age, we got the travel bug. San Francisco's never been on it. It's never been on my travel radar because there's seals.
I would go for Alcatraz and I don't know, the sushi.
Alcatraz looks pretty cool. Yeah, that's.
There's not much appeal for me to go to San Francisco.
There's good surf out there, but there's good surf in a lot of spots where I don't know. And they have the seals out in the bay, which is pretty cool because, seals are cute and you want to hang out with seals.
The singer is out there as well.
Does he?
Bouncing a ball on his nose.
Basically what I'm saying is that seals are cute, and that's like my only real reason for visiting that fucking place.
Ubisoft tend to... announced another game, and they were claiming it was a first for them, which is not true.
Well, it's called... They themselves said it was the first salvo in action games from Ubisoft.
I assume action sports. Well, first off, the word action sports doesn't make any sense to me. It's a sporting game or it's an extreme game. Well, I guess that's what an action sports is.
From the description, I think they mean sports that we had used to call extreme sports.
Right.
Yeah. Basically anything that wouldn't be out of basically anything that wouldn't look out of place in the X Games or whatever, if that's even still called that now. But I don't know. It's sports for one thing.
Yeah, they kind of forgot about a series of games they put out in 2008 out of their developmenter in Montreal called Shaun White's Snowboarding.
Yeah, they had a lot of licensed extreme sports games out back in the day. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what they're doing with this.
I don't know. This is a weird one, man. If they actually came out and said, "Hey, this is our first," it's like, no, don't pay any attention. Don't look at that ginger-haired snowboarder behind the curtain.
No, that was Ubisoft a long, long time ago.
That was the old Ubisoft.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Back when the idea of a sequel to Beyond Good and Evil was perceivable. Seemed like a possibility. I don't know. It could just be marketing for Get Speak. Who the hell knows? It's a dude with a microphone and a suit, and yeah. They should just be handing out like pillars of salt to take with a pinch every time they talk.
There was probably some marketing guy who has a law background, and hey, this is our first game ever. No.
What happened to law school, dude? How did you end up over here?
He didn't go to Duke. He went to North Carolina State, A&T.
He could at least open up his own practice, like, Saul.
Hey, he's working for Ubisoft.
I guess so.
Hey, let's go on to Sony.
All right.
Enough with the liars.
Let me see. Sony announced Resident Evil. I honestly have no frame of reference for Resident Evil beyond the Wii version of 4, which I think the series topped out at.
Yeah, I saw a Let's Play of the, I guess the trailer, or the demo, I guess you can call it. It
was a playable teaser, wasn't it?
It was a playable teaser,
okay.
And to the point where it reminded me exactly like PT. It didn't look exactly like PT, but man, you felt like you were playing it when you were watching it.
Well, now that Konami ain't making it.
Yeah, it's true.
I guess somebody else can. Like Hideo Kojima himself, by himself, without Konami's help. What the fuck else happened? There was God of War, Kratos Goes to Norway. God of War,
Norwegian.
God of War 6. I ran out of gods to kill.
I killed all the Greek gods. No, yeah. I kind of like.
So you're kind of into the series, huh?
Yeah. I liked it. Didn't play any of the PSP versions because who in the hell did?
PSP owners.
Yeah. I was talking about this, and I would love it if they continue the series, because this is like, it's really hard to describe. It's not Kratos, but it is Kratos. Because at one point he fires off his Spartan rage, but he doesn't have the Blades of Chaos. He's got like this battle axe that he throws and it comes back to him just like Thor's Mjolnir, Meow Meow. But I saw it and it looked like there's parts where. Have you seen the trailer for it? The play with the plane?
I have not.
Okay, it starts off. He's teaching his son, his little 8-year-old son, how to hunt a giant buck.
Does that kid age ever? He is a god. I guess not.
Well, remember in the Greek versions, he killed his wife and his kids, so he actually has a living son in this game.
Kratos?
Yeah.
I thought Kratos was an original character. For God of War?
Yeah.
No kidding. All right, I'll have to fucking look that up. Yeah, sure.
Sorry, what are you talking?
Are we still talking about Kratos, or are we talking about like this other character that's going to be principal for this new God of War game?
Oh yeah, this new God of War game is Kratos.
It is,
and
still
he's
Kratos.
Got a son.
Oh, okay, all right.
It is Kratos, but it's not Kratos, but it is Kratos. They left it really vague. It looks like him. He's got a beard. He looks like he eats trees. Yeah.
We'll just call him that.
Yeah.
Beardos! Dinner is ready! Oh, God. I love dinner. I mean, I look angry right now, but I'm really actually very happy. Did you make lamb? Yes, Beardos, I made it. Don't call me that! I'm gonna. All right, you come here. Come here, Baldur. I don't care if you're the peaceful god. Give me your skin. I don't know. Kratos, I'm so mad. How could this happen to me? That emo bitch. All right, anyway.
Okay.
Continue. Sorry.
Well, obviously he killed all the Greek gods, and this is a continuation of that, so it's not exactly a sequel. It's definitely not a reboot, so there's some gameplay that needs to come through to explain what exactly this is, but obviously he's going after what seems like the Norse gods, Thor, Odin, and all of the Midgard, Asgard gods.
That's going to be an uphill battle. It ought to be.
Yeah. I would love to see them continue this. After they run through this iteration, he takes on other gods, like, say, Egyptian gods, Japanese gods, and then finally he goes to Jerusalem.
Oh, jeez.
You see Kratos taking on Samson?
I kind of want to, actually.
He tries to sink the ark.
Yeah.
He takes on David and Goliath at the same time.
Jeez. I like to see him like him. One of the mini games is him and Jesus in a table flipping contest.
It's the Last Supper.
I think the people want that.
He's got to go through all the disciples first. Man, I am.
No, the disciples. Boss rush. They'll pop out of chambers like the end of every Mega Man game.
Judas tries to take you down by throwing silver at you. Oh my god, I am going to hell.
That's cool. I hear they have better music there anyway. There's God of War happening. What the hell else is there? Is anything... I know they're probably doing something. They're chasing Microsoft's tail with the whole VR thing, right?
Yeah, they're doing some supported games with VR. I don't know if they're coming out with their own thing or if it's something that you can just slap your own phone on and start... I don't know how they're doing. I'm going to assume it's like their own peripheral.
Yeah. Sony likes to play around with...
They like to copy people.
They do like to copy people, yes. Their Move controller, which I'm discovering a lot about, is pretty damn nifty. And there were more games out there that you would assume that actually supported it. And I'm talking about like marquee titles. Like today, I just learned that Bioshock Infinite. I've had this copy of Bioshock Infinite for the PS3 for like the last 2 years that I haven't played because I got it on Steam. And I prefer, mouse control to controller control. And apparently it's Move compatible. And not only that, but Bioshock 1 is a pack-in game that is also Move compatible with it. Fucking sign me up for that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, if they get some promising games, and if they do, like any big titles, like ones they don't have to, cut corners on. Like, I don't mean the dregs. Like, stuff that they've come up with in order to showcase the hardware themselves, like fucking 60-minute, like 3-hour-long demos or something like that, which they do every once in a while. Companies have been known, but they've actually got an Arkham game, Batman Arkham, and an X-Wing game coming out for it.
Yeah,
Batman Arkham would be pretty nice. So,
God, I couldn't imagine that. You would need a lot of space around you to play that.
You really? At least to throw dudes?
Punches.
You grab one of your kids and accidentally Samoan slam them into a bookshelf or something.
Batarang and you just nail the shit out of your kid.
Yeah.
Hey, Daddy, what are you...
But what's the real world analog to your Batarang? Just whatever you can find. Here's a croissant. Oh, yes. Justice. Bakery style. That might include The Last Guardian too, which is now that's a point of like Sony infamy at this point, and I don't really want to fucking talk about it because it just makes me sad. And then, however, there's a new Spider-Man game coming from Insomniac, which is one of Sony's second parties.
I don't know how I feel about that because there were some good Spider-Man games and there were some bad ones.
It can only be better than what was passable at the time. And I think the technology has come quite a way since the PS2. I would throw the ball into Insomniac's court here, probably, without a third guess. So yeah, fucking let them do it.
Yeah, sure. Let's see what they can do.
If anything, it ought to go a little way towards like throwing a sheen over like the last 5 of misbegotten Spider-Man concepts.
Yeah, they could probably redeem themselves. Now let's talk about Nintendo, who are talking about 2 franchises I am heavily invested in. Zelda and Pokemon. Let's do Zelda first.
So that's like one franchise that I'm heavily invested in, as much as you are, and then another franchise that I'd love to be heavily invested in, but unfortunately only buy their games and don't end up playing them. For some reason, stuff gets in the way. Like, other shit happens first, and I'm like, oh, I'll just finish this, and then I'll start playing Pokemon. Because it takes me forever to play them.
Yeah. Towards the end, I had... X and Y I had played so often and beat it so many times that I decided, I'm just going to raise Haluchas.
You beat it, like, times plural? You finished it more than once.
Yes, the Elite
I'm only halfway
5.
through the fucking game. I don't even think I'm halfway through. Technically, I think I'm like at 20%.
I tend to fly through the storyline of Pokemon pretty quick. It's all the side stuff and the collecting. And by the way, I got up to 720 of the collection.
That's obsession.
Yeah, well, that also shows how well the trading system is now. Where you can do everything online.
Yeah. Speaking of completion, damn.
So the new Zelda game, that's gonna be called Breath of Wind. Automatically makes me think of Wind Waker, but I'm gonna guess it's a little different. You know what? I'm really eager to see some gameplay on this.
Well, the art style makes it look like it's sticking to the more colorful sub-reality of Skyward Sword, and not the grim sub-reality of Twilight Princess.
Right.
Yeah. I don't really know like which one of those like where the games are placed on the Zelda timeline, and which one's like a stem from Wind Waker and which one's a stem from the N64 Ocarina. Duh. But yeah, it looks like that yet again they're gonna kind of go around the Wind Waker style for this newest franchise, or this newest installment.
Yeah, Jay left us a couple of notes about the game. You're able to climb trees, mountains, and castle walls.
A couple.
Yeah, well, it's pretty lengthy, but we'll try and run through them here. You're able to chop down trees.
According to the breadth of it, it looks completely open world. Like that was going to be their focus this time around, instead of just something that was on the periphery.
Well, that kind of has always been a Zelda thing. It is open world, but
it's about as open world as a GTA game is. You can
go do this. You won't have the right equipment for it, and you'll get your ass kicked, but you can go do it.
Yeah. I mean, you can go wherever you want. Exactly. You can hop in a car and go somewhere. You can walk somewhere. Run. Can't climb a skyscraper. You can crash a helicopter into a skyscraper, but still, it's not like everything. And it looks like that the way that they've built mobility in this game is to navigate like every single piece of terrain that you can see that is available to you.
Yeah. But there's a couple of new elements that seem really cool, like you can set grass on fire with a torch.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm going to be burning the countryside of Hyrule. You can cook food for health.
Uh-huh.
So that's...
I read this, and that's cool. I love cooking minigames, but it's almost the end of an era, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder how much of this is Cooking Mama and how much of it is Zelda.
Well, there's no more getting hearts and such out of bushes. There's no more fuck bushes, get healthy. I'm not the first to come up with that.
Fuck bushes?
Fuck bushes.
Fuck bushes.
Get rupee. Yeah, alright, anyway. In order to support this mini game, now grass might be an ingredient that you get. If you've ever played a Bethesda game, you know how this works. You can make your own recipes and shit. But this is in a game that's typically known for like faster paced action, less time spent traversing, large expanses of geography.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to try to make this into almost, it seems, your typical AAA game. But it's Nintendo, so I know it's not going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, there's one thing that I'm noticing on these notes that caught my attention. It seems like it's going to be kind of RPG-ish, where your clothing gives you a defensive stat and your weapons give you attack stats.
Now that you had told me. And I was like, that had existed in previous Zelda games before, but it was usually as like tiered armor that you would get. and it kind of acted as like a bookmark or some sort of like this is where you are in the game. If you're in the middle of the game,
they acted like special weapons.
What's that?
They kind of acted like special weapons.
Yeah, well, you eventually got them, and it was they were usually tied to side quests as well. But like in A Link to the Past, you could get like the red and blue tunics, but they were usually like you couldn't get them until you were like this far in the game, and then you got like the last tunic when you were almost finished with the game, and that's how the armor tiers used to work. Is this like more like an outfit sort of a mini game that Triforce Heroes had? Anything similar to that?
I'm not really sure. One of the things that that your weapons and maybe even your clothing can lose their durability and eventually break down.
So you got to replace them.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's an interesting little thing they're throwing in there.
Okay. You got beehives, and if you've played enough Animal Crossing, that didn't come to you as good news.
The bee.
Like,
that was the biggest fear about. Shit! Run!
Oh, come to me. Oh, we want big bells. We want big bells. No.
You could not run fast enough. And the second you get hit, it's like, oh, God damn it. Now everyone's going to be saying, you got stung. You got stung.
Man, y'all don't even exist. I got stung. You don't exist. Your opinions mean nothing to me. Nothing. And you know what? This town was built on my back. It was me. Without me, your postal service wouldn't even exist. You wouldn't be able to get your fucking Apple couch to him in under 30 minutes or less.
See,
that's
right.
Shit.
I bet this shit.
So, a little bit of respect and maybe a bit of sympathy when a beehive drops on my head because I'm looking for money in trees.
I love how Zelda talk goes to Animal Crossing. Two games that have nothing to do with each other.
Because Animal Crossing is everything. It has a little bit to do with each other. For one thing, you can get Zelda shit and Animal Crossing.
Here's a game that... Pokemon. Sun and Moon. You excited?
Moon. You don't watch Gumball, do you?
Yeah, no, I don't watch
Gumball. Oh, damn it. Okay.
I hear about Gumball. That's probably the one show my kids don't watch.
All right. Well, I'll leave it to you to discover for yourself.
Let's see. What are some new things about Pokemon? Obviously, there's probably going to be like is it 120 or 150 new Pokemon each game? I think it's 150.
Way more than what was in the first cartridge, which was way more than I ended up getting.
Yeah. Non-playable character trainers now have unique animations to give them more personality. Okay.
Good.
Sure.
Good. That was a long time in the coming.
Let's see. Battle Royal battle system.
Yeah.
It's 4 players against each other.
Ooh.
I have no idea how that's going to work, but I'm intrigued and slightly frightened.
4 Piplups enter, 1 Piplup leaves.
Because some of these people take this way more seriously than I do, and I'm seriously excited about the game.
Yeah. To an almost fanatical degree.
Have you heard about the starters for this game?
Yes. Only because they became memes in like fucking record time.
Yeah, the clown seal, the name escapes me, it starts with a P, has so much internet hate right now, and I'm trying to figure out...
Does
first
he?
off,
I like seeing nothing but fan art for him.
Yeah, there's
at
been
least
tons
on
of internet
Twitter
hate
feed.
for it.
Huh.
Just like do a search and you'll see like all kinds of memes against it.
The internet has a very strange way of expressing distaste.
Well, it's one of those situations where I'm like, why do you people hate this so much? First off, it's a Pokemon. It's a starter, and they're all supposed to be kind of cutesy.
Well, the thing is, Bob, you can only get mad at like so many things during your lunch break. And the dumber things are easier to get mad at. So...
True.
Yeah, probably why.
I'm remembering the penguin
hunch.
from, I want to say Gen 4 or 5.
The penguin.
Yeah, the penguin Pinlup?
It was Piplup, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was
and
just
it
talking
became like... It started off as like a cute little character. Nobody hated that, and it became like this badass penguin that knew all these powerful water attacks.
So it was a water... I'm guessing it was a water normal.
No, I think it was a water ice.
Well, that would make sense, yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, if the starters you haven't seen is the grass one is like this baby owl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen him.
Have
you seen the fan art of him It shows the evolutions, like, the beginner and then the middle, and then like his final evolution is him slumped over a bar with his leaf tie kind of unraveled, and he's looking all depressed and dejected and shit.
No, I haven't seen that.
Look for more fan art.
Okay.
People do pretty wonderful things when they're, not Rule 34ing all over the fucking place. And yes, there is Pokemon Rule 34.
No.
It shouldn't be. I know this isn't a surprise to anybody, but it should be. We should be like, whenever somebody, like, first of all, none of us should know the term Rule 34. Second of all, whenever somebody tells us about this, we should be shocked. We should be like, God. But now we're just like, yep. Okay.
We're just disgusted and we move on.
Yeah. Pikachu has a vagina. Sure. Whatever.
So, what you been doing?
What I've been doing, since it was mostly video game chatter for today, is I've been playing a Shadows of the Damned from Grasshopper Manufacture, who did No More Heroes. We talked about a little bit about them earlier. Also did Killer 7. Things have gotten better since Killer 7. This game is kind of like, we're both big God Hand freaks. It's set up a lot like that, except it's shooting, brings it a little bit closer to Resident Evil 4. And the idea behind it is that you play a demon hunter, no shortage of those, from Mexico. So there's a lot of like Latin America imagery involved in it. Most of the demon world is set like an underprivileged village in that part of our country. About 6 hours of a dick joke with a video game wrapped around it. I'm serious. This game doesn't let up. Like from the get-go. You have a gun. Your gun is sentient. Your gun is a demon named Johnson. And its default mode is boner. That's what the text is in the submenu. That's exactly what it says. Every 4 to 3 lines out of either of those characters is some sort of an innuendo or a double entendre. And when the game feels like being generous, it's something that doesn't allude to genitalia. The game itself is pretty good, but the controls are a little archaic and slow, and it moves like a tank. I realize that's kind of, you know what you're getting into with that sort of a game. I mean, it's a behind-the-back camera sort of setup. That's the way those controls have to be designed. So, after that, yeah, there's a pretty good game to be had there if the controls were a little bit frustrating, but I've been enjoying it. There's plenty to criticize, but if you can find it for cheap enough, give it a whirl.
Cool.
At least if you're a fan of fucking bathroom humor.
And who isn't, honestly?
Yeah. Bathroom humor? Slaying demons.
Well, they go hand in hand, sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm slaying some demons in the bathroom quite regularly. And by that I mean pooping.
I picked up a couple of books recently, and one of them was this, Drax.
Yay!
The Galaxy's Best Detective.
Uh-huh.
It was a 5-part miniseries, and I bought it, well, first off, because I'm a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan, but then I saw who wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to ask myself, wait, that guy wrote it? And it was written by CM Punk.
Oh, okay, all right. The other name is Bun. He writes too, so it was probably like a team write-up sort of an effort. But still, that's pretty weird.
Or maybe he wrote one episode and Bun did another. I really don't know. It doesn't say how it's split up. It just says, oh yeah, CM Punk and Bun were the writers.
Probably structured dialogue. A lot of writing teams do that.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask, there was another Drax miniseries that predated the original Abnett Lanning Guardians that was written by Keith Giffen, who is one of my favorite authors. And he also did a Star-Lord series that I'm reading right now, which is great, if you haven't read that yet.
Did he also do the Rocket series? Because I think they came out with 3 or 4 of them at the same time.
As far as I know, Star-Lord was introduced to Rocket in the Star-Lord series that I'm talking about. There was a Rocket series that came out after the movie that was done by Scotty Young, and which I heard was like gorgeous, but not all that great underneath that. Because Scotty Young's, an artist. That's kind of his wheelhouse is visuals. I haven't read it for myself, so I can't really corroborate that.
Fair enough.
But yeah. So, all right, you got Drax.
Yep. I got a couple. I got my friend, our friend Todd over at Gods and Monsters. He slipped me a couple of freebies. Let's see, a little preview for Civil War 2. That was cool. I haven't had a chance to get through that yet.
Which hopefully never happens in real life. Although with the election rhetoric going around nowadays.
Another sampler book from Dark Horse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it looks like it's got Alien, Predator, Sin City, Umbrella Academy, and Buffy in here.
I always love picking those up. Dark Horse and Image used to do Vertigo. I'm sorry, Vertigo used to do like sampler comics once a year.
And the big thing I got was Volume 2 of the Infinity Watch. You've got to be a fan to enjoy this because it's shit. The art is the writing isn't that bad. The art is horrendous, especially I remember when the series first started, I thought, okay, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm just thumbing through it now, I'm watching the art just get weaker and weaker, and it's very gradual. And then all of a sudden you're like near the end of the book, and
all of a sudden it's
everything is just misproportioned. They tried. I'll say that. They tried.
Well, it was still done by Sterling and Lim, right? Those were the two guys that did most of anything having to do with Infinity back in the 90s. Or Starling, not Sterling. Different.
Writer. They don't have names on this, probably because so many people... Oh, yeah. Written by Jim Starlin, Richard Ashford. Illustrated by, a whole bunch of names. Chris Renkiewicz. That's like the principal name.
That's probably why it looks like the way it looks.
Yeah.
It could have been like a piecemeal operation. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm a fan of anything Infinity. Infinity Watch, Infinity Crusade, Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet, obviously. I was big on it, so.
Yeah.
It was worth it, in my opinion.
At some point, Marvel was like the House of Infinity. Because Starlin...
Well, that was their bread and butter there.
Yeah, like after the Infinity Gauntlet was like its big... what's its highest selling miniseries up to that point, or at the time. And because of that, they were like, we'll give all the comics to Starlin. And Starlin was like, yay! Because he wasn't writing anything else. Which is how you end up with like volumes and volumes and volumes of everything.
I'll take work.
With a fucking oven mitt. Like, how much drama can surround just a piece of like apparel? Well, apparently a lot.
Oh, well, yeah.
Then again, it does like change entire universes.
I think that should wrap it up for this episode. Episode 10. We made it to double digits.
Yeah.
Amazingly. Jay, hope you're feeling better soon. He's probably going to join us next time. Probably not. He said he's going out of town on the week we're going to tape, so maybe we'll bump up our taping. Well, you'll find out when he shows up, I guess.
Yeah. If he suddenly materializes, much like the Hitchhiking Ghosts.
So if you want to get in touch with us, it's on Twitter. It's at Cretins Guild. And jump on there, talk video games, talk E3 with us, because we got a lot of stuff wrong, I'm going to bet.
Yeah. Yep. Being that neither one of us were able to had a direct line of access to this week's news, fuck it, I know I didn't.
It happened, but we presented our opinions as best as we could.
Shit, we were sleeping in the middle of the day when all this was going on.
Because we work at night.
Yeah. Or drinking.
Yeah. We do have priorities, and drink is like near the top. So thank you anyway for joining us.
Yeah.
Tune in again next time where I don't know, what next time?
Next time I will do the podcast Sans Pants, but I will still be wearing socks.
Keep it classy. With garters?
Yep. Provided I can find one in my color. I mean, I'm not a complete savage.
Oh, you gotta go royal purple.
Royal purple? I was thinking more of a summer, light blue.
You see, now we're just wasting everyone's time.
Some people are like writing this shit down. Maybe. You sick bastards.
Good night, everybody.